Sergio Perez got a slightly better getaway. He's coming at Max Verstappen now. Behind him, they're all squabbling with Charles Leclerc in third place. Max Verstappen leads then from Sergio Perez, then comes Charles Leclerc, and then comes Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Ghosn round the outside. George Russell on the inside. Russell ahead then in the Mercedes, and Lewis Hamilton now all over the rear wing of Charles Leclerc's Ferrari. Out in front, it's still Max Verstappen ahead of Sergio Perez, then Leclerc, then comes Hamilton.
They're obviously looking at Sainz.
Okay, I overtook him. He needs to give me a position. Super unfair. He did exactly.
DRS there, and this could be crucial for Red Bull, Martin. If Verstappen can keep giving DRS advantage to Perez, keeps him further away from Leclerc.
Yeah, it means Perez is following quite closely and hurting his tyres. They are now looking at Hamilton leaving the track and put him on his back foot. So now Hamilton in his slipstream, a sandwich between the two Ferraris. And let's watch this unfold. So Sainz is getting a lovely double slipstream there. Lewis is watching the Ferrari in front.
Fourth place, the position has given back. Karun, you've been monitoring the team radio. Was there any further exchanges?
Yeah, it was more from the Ferrari side. They were still lobbying.
Hamilton will have DRS then down this back straight behind Carlos Sainz, and as you can see, with an extra 15 kilometres an hour advantage, Hamilton is getting closer and closer, and they're going wheel to wheel into that chicane, and Sainz just ahead under Norris. Two Mercedes making a move on lap 5 of the race and making the move out in front. 2.4 seconds near enough now, the advantage Verstappen has over Perez. He kept him within DRS range for a lap. That has now disappeared. Ted, let's head down to you. There's a long way to go. We're only on lap 6, and here comes George Russell and Carlos Sainz under pressure once again. They come perilously close, don't they, going into turn 9. Russell just has to back out a little bit, try and find another way to get past Sainz.
Yeah, but it was interesting to me that Russell could, George is pointing out there, the Ferrari rear wing is open because he's following Lewis Hamilton so closely that it's keeping him in play. But it's interesting that Sainz is coming back at Hamilton at this moment, and it looks as if Russell has just a notification of track limits, as has Leclerc and Norris and Sainz.
Soft tyres on Pierre Gasly's AlphaTauri. Is that starting to struggle a bit? Mick Schumacher picking up the place and moving ahead of him and into 16th.
You're free to race.
George wants to know what's happening, if anything's happening with Lewis, but you're free to race suggests that there isn't much happening, and you're going to have to get the overtake done yourself, George. That's the message coming in from the Mercedes pit front. Leclerc 3 seconds behind in third place, running a lonely race. Sainz has pulled away from the two Mercedes, and we can see once again how George Russell made that move on Lewis Hamilton. Certainly seems to have a lot. Sebastian Vettel under braking, has a little look on Esteban Ocon, who finished 8th in the last 2 Grand Prix and is hanging on to 8th place at the moment, but for how much longer? Vettel's coming at him again. Here comes
pictures like you can, or on the telemetry, so that's on the damage, and the power loss, they say, is just low on energy on battery after using it all defending from George Russell on Hamilton's car. They don't say there's
in defence, he's got to charge it up.
The pace is good. The deck is also lower than expected. I don't agree.
So what they're seeing on the telemetry is not being felt on the 4 tyres of Carlos. Can he keep it pace? Can he keep it fast enough and just about keep it on the track, but not ahead of Esteban Ocon? What a cracking battle this is.
Yeah, Seb's going to have to go left, isn't he? Go down the left-hand side and take to the...
Okay, copy.
Yeah, Hamilton's still lapping in the 132s, George Russell in the 131.9s. So 3/10 a lap Hamilton is dropping with this issue. Whether it is an issue, we'll wait to see. But
they're just hanging on to this battle for AlphaTauri. Hamilton 2 strikes, as we were talking about, on his track limits. And I would say Alonso looking fairly menacing there. He'll just be babysitting his tyres as much as he can.
Lance Stroll to try and do something about Esteban Ocon. Once again, he's about a car and a half length too far back to make a move.
Whoever's in front gets first dibs on the strategy. That will not please the Spaniard, will it?
No, although they've been told to behave themselves for the last race and this race before they go their separate ways. And they were very stern about that for Alpine. Stop for Red Bull, maybe to cover off the threats of Ferrari, trying to undercut them. Hard tyres going on once again for Perez and the Red Bull.
Yeah, and apparently Lewis, Karim's telling me Lewis is on the phone saying, my tyres are getting better.
Wheel to wheel, to go wheel to wheel, and then get back ahead of Sergio Perez. What he'd like is Fernando Alonso to stay behind Perez, and that's exactly what has happened there. And then Ted Kravitz, 2 seconds.
Caution. Yeah, oh good, that's all right.
He came out, Ted
good luck,
Kravitz, for
Georgie.
Lando Norris to put into the
Good
pits.
luck with that one, George. Yeah, the slow stop of George Russell meant that Lando Norris had to...
On with as well as Carlos Sainz now comes into the pits after being told to do so by his Ferrari team, and we're on lap 18 of this race. If you're just joining us and you want to watch the highlights alongside the live action, Sky Q and Sky Glass customers, this lap of the race on those fresh new hard compound tyres. We're on board once again with Fernando Alonso then heading into turn 9. You can see the blinking, flashing lights on the rear of the Aston Martin as it harvests energy through on the wheel rims there, I think. Fernando Alonso's looking in his mirrors. The reason he's doing that is because Carlos Sainz is right behind him. Sainz, who was pitted onto the hard compound tyre, is making a nice fist of it down that back straight. Carlos Sainz moves.
Yeah. They start bald as well, don't they? But these slick tyres. But we saw Alonso pitting, didn't we? He ducked into the pit lane as Perez does the new fastest lap of the race. And so Verstappen
might be getting towards being too late. So, yeah, you need 22.5 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if they react a little bit later to try a tyre offset.
Well, Charles Leclerc is coming in. George Russell, this man who's just overtaken Sebastian Vettel, has a 5-second time penalty for an unsafe release, and that should come. A bit of pace for one more lap, and he could potentially go to the end of this race on a set of hard tyres and make it a one-stop race, whilst others have pitted before him. Oh, Sainz right on the tail here of Charles Leclerc, his teammate, and those
to clear the slot gaps out of any tyre debris, otherwise the wing doesn't function properly.
That's George Russell getting them past. Finds himself behind Yuki Tsunoda, and there's Lewis Hamilton getting past Sebastian Vettel and up into 6th place. So Ted, let's head to you.
God, there's action everywhere today, isn't there, Crofty? Fernando Alonso is a pretty frustrated man because this is ruining his strategy. Valtteri Bottas.
George, we have a 5-second penalty for unsafe release. We'll have to serve it at the next pit stop. All right, if we're going to take a 5-second penalty, we need to go long.
To maybe put a set of softs on at the ends to try and get some over.
To pass him with the rear wing open. He passed him on the way into that chicane. He'll get mugged again down to...
First time that season and won his title.
And that is why they introduced DRS, because Petrov was able to hold Alonso up for the entire race.
Lando Norris is the next to get past Sebastian Vettel, who might be struggling with his tyres, having a bit of fun. Now Mick Schumacher might fancy trying to get after his teammate Kevin Magnussen. They've both got DRS here. Mick Schumacher trying to prove that he should still be in Formula 1 next season, and makes a lovely move on Kevin Magnussen going into turn 9. So it probably won't be the one he remembers as fondly as some others. He's come out now.
Yeah, the hard tyre, they only get 2 sets for the entire Grand Prix weekend. And every single one of them is on a set of hard tyres now out there. 20 cars still running.
And Max Verstappen, I think, managing the pace rather nicely. Sergio Perez, 6 laps, he might be in striking distance. Karim, back to you.
Yeah, just to finish up that point, I think that they're obviously managing Russell's pace, but Lewis is staying within that 5 seconds of George Russell. It's sort of stabilised in the low 4.2, 4.3 seconds.